some is lose-lose. For America, the war in the Middle East is lose-lose. Because you can't destroy Iran, and whatever's left, it still has a corner of Saudi Arabia. It has too many troops. It's double its population. 1 million people got killed with it. They didn't miss it. Here's the thing. Remember in asymmetric warfare, they said about Iranians and everybody else on there, the ability to accept high capital. Because see, when you fight an imperial power, a native country will always take heavy capital. That's just one of the rules of it. Heavy capital. Okay. I wanted to say that because if you take Russia, you don't know what Russia's going to do. They may load up. They went to Syria, they in Syria. You don't know the Russians might roll into Iran. Like I said, Iran allowed a military base there for Russia maybe about 3 years ago. Where they could land their planes and refuel and all that. Yeah. Remember, Russia's up here, and Iran is down here, and Syria is right over there. So to go way around the block, we don't want that. We just come right down to you, then right over there to our friends. Okay, the U.S. didn't think about all of that. Don talking about what he was going to do, and old stupid Bolton and Pompeo. You know the Pentagon don't want to fight. Have you heard that?
From my understanding, they had a war game like in 2002 where it showed that anything happened, they get their bus. The Americans would get their bus.
The Pentagon don't want to have nothing to do with that. I mean, they come to the meeting saying, "Hey man, we don't want to have." Look, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, they said, and then when they went there the other day, they said Iranian missiles. That was a Cordad 3. They said it was. The Cordad 1, 2, 3. They got all these, every missile they bring out, a new one, they call it Freedom Liberator or something other. 1. And then they double up the space, then they call that number 2. They increase the accuracy, they do something, they call that number 3. They're into number 3s on everything. 3s and 4s on all of the different types of missiles. Okay, everybody knows the Iranian military is serious. They can mobilize. Besiege, they can mobilize, that's like volunteers. They got light training and that. But besieged in that time to go for war games and training, they've had years and years and years to do it. They're all trained. Pasdaran is trained. In Lebanon, everybody's trained. That's what somebody told Don. They said, Don, you want to go over there? Go ahead. Go. Now go ahead. Put your bad self, as they used to say. You bad? Go over there. Well, and what are we going to do in the meantime? We got military bases over there to beat the band and a handful of people. If you mess with the Iranians, they're going to strike in Afghanistan. All their home folks, their neighbors, they got the same religion. Shias, they got the same. And Iran had even made friends, homeboys with Taliban, all of them other old dummies. Just call them. goodness. No, not really. But they are, Iran is, because most of them guys is for money. So Iran say, y'all, you know, they say you can't buy the people of Afghanistan, the warlords, but you can rent them. Right? You can't buy them. That's true, right? Tell you. As soon as you up the price, they ready to go. Anyway, let me try to get on. I wanted to bring that point out because that's the main point. The other thing I wanted to bring out, are we telling them what to do, or are they telling us what to do? I say because everything we say, there's an instant response to it, over and over again. And this is not new, this has been going on, we just hadn't been talking about it. And a lot of people say, well, that's psychological guerrilla warfare, you're just playing. I said, if the Negro is just playing, then how come, what's the batting average? 999.9. Not even, no, you know what I mean? 3-something is a good batting average, right? They said average, executive in America, they are right 30% of the time. So if we're right 97% of the time, we're just saying that. So far we haven't been wrong at all. And now it's getting so critical that is, if we say it today, and okay, y'all been seeing this so far. Do y'all remember what we said this today? That happens tomorrow, not back a long time. Okay. Coincidence, circumstances. That's why 10 or 15 years ago we was joking about the book of coincidences and the book of circumstances. That these things come up so often, that's then. That we were just saying we're going to write a book on these issues. Okay, the question is, and it's a real question. You can say it to the Americans, you can say it to the Negroes, you can say it to anybody. Are they telling us what to do, or are we telling them? That's a real question. Then just do a simple analysis. Well, who says it first? Suppose we say it first every time, and then they follow suit. Answer itself. So we don't depend on Americans for memory, morality at all. And the Russians are there maybe to pay back for a little something. This is a new era of global awakening. You notice everything is going bad for the world. Whales are dying, fish are dying. People are, can you imagine they're mining plastic in the ocean? They are. Because they get so much, they can make stuff out. They can mine plastic. They're mining plastic. I mean, not digging it out, they're just going by with big swoops and scoop it all up, and the machine tell them, you keep this and you throw that out. You know, we can use it. That's what they do. It's a new era of global awakening. It's a new geopolitical environment. This is nothing like before. You got to remember, Iran was isolated before. And this didn't help people that it likes. Syria, Iraq, Iran, and Russia. On the other hand, they have the Zionists, the Saudis, and the Americans. Who caused all the trouble in the Middle East? The Zionists or the Saudis? Every one of those groups are made by criticize Saudi Arabia. And I was talking to a Sudanese brother the other day, and he was so mad. He said, those Zionists, but the Saudis. I said, alhamdulillah, because remember how we used to have to convince people about Saudi Arabia. No, they're caught in that Aramean, they're keeping it too old. Not no more. They paid for, they developed all of those criminal organizations. Boko Haram, they all had the same habits. They kill everybody. They just kill everybody. They do outlandish stuff. And it's all either black people or Muslims. They don't have no time for no colonial powers. They don't, right? They don't mess with no boss man's people. Nor Saudi Arabia. Okay, we'll try to speed up. Now what about us? We're going to be brief about this, but there's a need for a manual of the movement for 21st century, or the first quarter of the 21st century. Even the first half is 2019. We have passed and absorbed all of the, there's a time when you could read messages and teachings by Imam Hassan al-Banna, and you could study a lot of that, and it would bring you up to date on Islamic movement. Now that has to be a manual, a brand new manual. Things are moving too fast. Who has been recording all of these, archiving, documenting, chronicling all of these events? Who's been doing that? So whoever's been doing it, they're qualified to write the manual. The manual for the movement for these days. That don't mean the manual is broad, it has outlines for your thinking. How should we think during this period? Just that article, how to think and act after 9/11. Yeah. Read that, boy. That's 16, 15, 16, 17, 2002. That's 17 years old. But all we have to do is read it. There should be a manual for this time. I imagine someone is writing it right now. In the meantime, these videos are the thinking. They should help shape the thinking of the people during this period. What do we mean the thinking? How do you think about yourself? When you look in the mirror, what do you say? I am a what? Or, right? You got to think about who you are. Who are they? Right? Who are they? How do you see them? This is a period of transition. How did people see the British? How did people see other colonial powers? Now, Don has done a good job. How do the people of the world see America? It's not a pretty picture. Don ain't welcome nowhere. Last time in Britain of all places, they had the big dog with the diaper pin, they had the big red head, the big orange headed fella. What did they have last week? They had something that was almost like that. I don't know whether he was in a big baby carriage or something. No, it was something like that in the UK. No, it was big. Yeah. It's a different geopolitical. Just look at the world for a minute. People are ready for a change, environment and everything. They said we can do better. There's no reason for 35% of the food to be thrown away by the rich, and there's millions of people starving. We can do better than that. Whatever we can do, I don't care what you call it, we can do better than that, right? The earth, renewable, you know, when we was kids, you had, if you had Levi's, you would have one pair. You got lucky if you had two. You had one pair of shoes and you wouldn't wear them till you had a hole in it, then you put some of that cardboard in there, yeah, because you wore your shoes out. Look at how people live now. They have zillions of shoes. My family has never worn out a pair of shoes. They've just never worn them. Some of them they almost never wore. And it's just normal. It ain't like they're bad people or anything. People have stuff now. You had a few shirts, and that's the way people was up till a few years ago. You took one bath on the weekend. Saturday, you didn't just go in there and whoosh, all that water coming. Can you imagine somebody taking a bath every day in the country? You couldn't do that. Getting in the big old tubs, heating up the water, and the soap would eat you alive. With that live soap, good God Almighty, the big blocks. I don't know how the people did it. They itched. Some people would take ashes, lard, and mix it together with lye, and that's what soap was. Yes, it was. I believe some people, that's what lava, all that stuff comes from, the graves and that. They took ashes from us, you know how smooth they are, ashes? Yes. Put lard in there, regular old pork lard, and lye. You can tell because even when you wanted to comb your hair, if you put those big blocks of lye soap in your hair, it turned it 5 and red, and it was semi-straightened up a little bit, like comb. Good God, man. So you couldn't think that people are spoiled, right? Now we're a little older, we can live through it. No air conditioning, so what? So what if you never had a fan? You know, a fan, that's a pretty good invention. A fan, not air conditioning, but just a fan. So there's a new world. People are looking at all of these things. There's an analysis. When you watch TV, you listen to the radio, there are people all over the world. I don't care whether it's France or Eastern countries, there's constant uprising. People want to change their environment. That's the environment we live in. Sometimes it's a cataclysmic war. And that war wakes everybody up and they look at it. That is the possibility of the so-called Middle East right now. It's a possibility that if anything happens over there, first of all, what should Don do? Don should mind his own business. He's already trapped himself in a corner. He can't do nothing reasonable or rational. So he should turn his head and say, okay, you want to Japanese, you want to buy Iranian this, you want to buy, you know, just turn his head. Right? And he tell them we're turning our heads if you buy all the oil they want. Because Iran is not going for none of that stuff. And as far as Iran being like North Korea, you talk about a hustler and a young one. Kim Jong-un, oh, he wrote me such a nice, that man is such, I can imagine China, Korea, both, north and south. they be rolling around on the ground laughing at Trump. Oh, I got such a nice letter. And they ain't gave up nothing. You notice ain't nobody moved a smidgen. Ain't nobody moved. They all saw that if you got an atomic bomb, you won't get attacked. So now imagine they had a Korean War. Good God Almighty, that was over 60 years ago. Man, that thing was, and it's still going, it is not over. It's a ceasefire, Panmunjom in 1953. Good God Almighty. 65 years, something like that. Man, that's like not only another century, but that's like for young people when they think of those wars, like if I'm talking about these wars and this, that, and the other. My kids and other kids look at it like, I've been asked by young people, because I say, yeah, when I was born in 1945, everybody over 80 years old was born in slavery. So when I came out here and I saw that movie, Band of Angels, in 1957, that's the same year I went back to Arkansas and my grandmother was still there. I said, Grandmother, were you a slave? She said, no, I was born in 1871. That was 6 years out of slavery. But old Miss so-and-so, and old Mr. so-and-so, they was born in slavery. And old Miss so-and-so, I forget her name, he said she was born up in slavery. That means she was 10 or 15 years old. She was 98, something, I don't know, old. She was born up, that means she was a functional, getting around, picking up stuff slave. You know, not a little baby. Old Mr. So-and-so, he was born, but he just running around the yard playing. You know, 5 or 6 years old. He wasn't old enough to do that, but he was still born in slavery. Yeah. And so they asked me, because they don't have a feel of timeline. You know, when you watch even a movie or you see a uniform, you can tell that was a uniform that they wore in 1820. And they had something like this.